Shastri Fellow. I had the great privilege and honor of knowing Professor Stephen Clarkson, attending his classes, also meeting him in his office. And I could see the range of scholarship that he has done, and that also Professor Nisarul has just outlined. So here we have a person who is a Rhodes Scholar, with a PhD from Sorbonne, France, Paris. Yes, Woodrow Wilson Scholar, Fellow of the Royal Society of Canada, and also Order of Canada. So what else can we expect? He is also the author of a lot of award-winning books, Uncle Sam and Us, in fact, including the recent ones, Perilous Imbalance, on Canadian law and government.
Iraq, the military disaster, the economic disaster, with Abu Ghraib, the soft power disaster for the United States has been, I was going to say incalculable. It's not incalculable. It's been shown in the economic crisis of 2008. And the impact of all that on Canada has been that instead of North America growing as an integrated three-country economy, the Americans have been putting up barriers at their northern and southern frontiers, and trade is actually decreasing. So the dream of a prosperous North America in which Canada would be richer and happier and ever after has turned out to have failed. And now, in Canada, the very same political and economic elites who were telling us 15 years ago that free trade with the United States would solve the answer to our dreams are now saying we must diversify. We must have not rely on the Canadian relationship with the United States. We must trade more, invest more with other countries. And that's the connection to India. Because now, in Ottawa, there's a huge interest in diversifying economic relations. So I said I won't talk about India because you know what's happened in the last 40 years in India better than I, but it brings me then to the actual agreement. What's in it for India? What's the point of negotiating with a relatively small country? The Canadian-Indian trade represents, it's very small for Canada. It's 1% of our trade with the United States. In other words, every 3 days, so over a weekend, we trade as much with the United States as we do with India. And from India's point of view, imports from Canada represent 1% of Indian imports. Exports to Canada from India make Canada the 30th, not the third, not the 13th, the 30th. Most of that is the 30th least important country for India. So what's in it? Right now, India imports potash, fertilizer, imports lentils, imports some diamonds and gold, a little bit of manufactured products. India exports a range of goods. And frankly, I don't think that the trade question is very significant. Now, Professor Badrou mentioned there's been a big increase. But when you say there's been a big increase, it's been a big increase from a very, very small base. I think what's interesting is the foreign investment question. That is Canadian investment in India and Indian investment in Canada. Canadian investment in India 5 years ago was twice as large as an Indian investment in Canada. Indian investment in Canada is now 5 times as large as Canadian investment in India. So there's been a big growth of Indian investment in Canada.